Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay, so instances, after some time, still it is out of service. Let's see.
Hello, Srikanth.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, for that connection training property, right? So, is it like waiting for the ELB unhealthy mode, or like as soon as it reports unhealthy, it will start looking for that time interval, right?
Yeah, correct. Correct. So once the unhealthy this thing is notified by EC2, uh, immediately it will not stop sending traffic. So it will continue for some time
Okay.
and then stop.
So
Yeah.
suppose like, okay, it recovers itself saying that, okay, it becomes healthy, it will start allowing back this
Correct.
traffic.
Yeah. 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 Yes. So see, sometimes in the production, what happens? There's temporary glitch is there, and the load balancer detects that it is unhealthy. So it is not advisable to completely stop the traffic because there are some sessions which are going on. They may get a reply, but if it is really a problem,
Okay.
then anyway it is going to go down, right? So to allow that, that
Oh,
facility is
yeah.
given to you.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is in service, both of them. And when you go to description, so this is the DNS name I was talking about. So you don't get a IP address here. What you get is a DNS name. So now if I copy this, again, the resolution of the name depends upon how good your ISP is. So I will put it in an incognito tab and I will just try to refresh it. After doing the couple of refreshes, you will see that it is toggling between server 1 and server 2. Okay, so this is the round robin this thing policy which is in place now. So why incognito? Because it doesn't use the cache. Otherwise, what happens is if you try to do it in normal, many a times it uses cache. So it will say only server 1. So try to put it in incognito tab so that it will not use cache. So it is toggling. Okay? So traffic is getting distributed across server 1 and server 2. Everybody is able to see. So let me check how many load balancers are there. Okay, 7 are there already.
Actually, when you select security group, you have to select what, right? HTTP, right?
HTTP.
So like I use the default one which I created earlier. So there SSL is also enabled. If that is enabled, anything will happen.
Don't use default security group.
No, not default actually. No,
Whatever
I
you created
created
earlier.
for
That
EC2.
will
I
work.
created for EC2.
That will work. That should work.
So if any one instance is down, goes down, So for that we should assign auto scaling, right?
Yeah, we will discuss that. That is the next topic.
Okay. Can we take a quick break of 10 minutes?
Now you want a break? Okay. Fine.
Srikanth,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, I, yeah, I was
Yeah.
facing some difficulty launching that ELB, so not sure where I'm missing it.
What is the error?
Uh, it is
Voice is breaking. No, where is the error? Uh, Hello. Where is the error?
hello.
Yeah.
So when I
Where is
launched
the
that
error?
ELB, so ELB,
Uh,
like
when you launch that
error in the
ELB,
sense like when I put it in the in the URL, right? So
uh,
it says like site is down. It says
acha, but individually you are able to access the EC2 instances. Now, which is your ELB? Can you tell me? Hello. This is the one. Then tell me the 4584. Now, what is the name of the ELB?
Sickle hyphen road balance.
Sikil. Okay.
Hmm.
This is gone. Okay, let me check.
Yeah.
So this is your, they are in service. This sometimes what happens is your DNS, that is the uh, your
Length, does it
ISP,
matter?
should be efficient to do that. One sec, let me just start this from my end so that we will know if it is a DNS related issue. Yeah, it is working for me.
Okay.
So what you can do is go to your command prompt and try a command ipconfig and just show it what is to be done. So go here ipconfig slash clush DNS. Okay, so just try this
Okay. Yeah.
because it keeps in cache and then doesn't resolve it.
Sure. Yeah.
Srikanth, actually, how long it will take from out of service to get in service?
Once the how long it takes, it depends upon that time setting, the health check settings. So if your
Okay.
service, yeah, EC2 has gone down and it has come up, then now we have set it up as every 20 seconds it will send a request and 10 correct responses it should get. So it will take
Okay.
200 seconds.
Okay.
And even after flushing, even I am getting the same thing.
Now, what is your load balancer? Name?
Mina LB.
No, so this is related to your ISP DNS. Mina DNS, no?
Yeah. Individually it is pinging. I can able to see that.
Yeah, let me try. This is not.
Yeah.
Selected multiple. Fine. This is in service. Let me try this. Yeah, for me it is working. So it depends upon your ISP a little bit.
Okay.
I think your router may be having some cache. That is not going to. There are DNS caches everywhere. So on router, on ISP side, if you flush that, possibly it should work, but I don't know because it is a router that is also holding some cache, but it's working.
Yeah, for now it's working for me after doing
That's
DNS.
IP config. Okay,
Yeah, after flushing it is working.
flushing. Okay, fine. Good. So that is about the load balancer. I think you wanted to take a break. So we'll take a tea break, maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then we will come back. So what, in the meanwhile, what you can do, you can just delete all these servers and the load balancers. Fine. So we have done the exercise on load balancer. So kindly terminate your instances. I see many instances still running.
Maybe we'll create a application and network load balancer as well. So that's why we kept. Is it
No,
or
no,
not?
no. Classic. That's it.
Okay, okay.
Difficult to show everything. So you know the concept, so it's similar.
Yeah, yeah. So in target groups where we have used an application or network load balancer.
Application. I mean, target groups. Fine. So let us start with our next topic. Please delete your instances. We'll be creating auto scaling group. So we need a space for that. So there is a limit on number of EC2 instances. So Marker, Mohan, I see a couple of Ratish. So these instances are running. Please terminate them. Maddie, shall I go ahead and terminate? Are these people yet to come back or?
Srikanth initiated termination, so it will complete it.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So we'll discuss the next topic. That is about vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. So in yesterday's session, in the morning session, we discussed about the scalability part, which is, so I discussed two terms, vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. So, so the applications, both the scalings are possible on cloud. That is what we discussed yesterday. And what is vertical scaling is, say, if you have a EC2 instance, and you are having say 4 CPUs and 8 GB memory maybe. I'm just taking a random example. And now you want to upgrade this to another configuration. So that is called vertical scaling. So how do you do that? Is basically if you have a EC2 instance, you need to stop it, and then you can change the configuration and then restart it again. That is how you do in EC2, right? So that is vertical scaling. So here we are actually changing the configuration of the server. That is the peculiarity of vertical scaling. In horizontal scaling, what happens is the configuration will remain same, but the numbers will vary. So if you have EC2 instances, usually their configuration is same and the number will vary depending upon the load, right? So that is horizontal scaling. Now, horizontal scaling in AWS can be done in multiple ways. You can monitor certain parameters through CloudWatch, and depending upon those matrix values, you can write a small script in terms of AWS CLI or SD and trigger additional instances. That is one way to do it. Now there is a ready-made ready wizard that is available that is called auto scaling group. So with the help of which we can do horizontal scaling. So auto scaling group has got basically two components. One is called launch configuration. One is called launch configuration. Launch configuration. And the other one is auto scaling group itself. So this will basically have all the config related data related to your EC2 instance. Since I said that horizontal scaling, the configuration remains same. So whenever you are triggering the auto scaling group, it will read this configuration related to EC2 and create the instances. Auto scaling group will have policies. So it will have a policy. Suppose I define a policy that minimum, say there should be 2 instances running all the time. Maximum, if I define as 4 instances running anytime. And now suppose I define a policy, say CPU utilization of the group goes above 60%, right? Then I will say add one resource, add one EC2 instance. And if the CPU utilization is below 30%, then why to waste money? So you remove one. So these are kind of policies you can set it up in auto scaling group. And once you set these policies, the auto scaling group will behave within those rules. So minimum, it will always run 2. It cannot go beyond 4. And in between, if the CPU utilization crosses 60, it will add 1. If it is less than 30, it will remove 1. Now, when I say CPU utilization, it is the average CPU utilization of the group. So suppose 2 EC2 instances are running, then it will be the CPU utilization of the group. If it crosses 60, it is going to add 1. If it is less than 30, it is going to delete 1. Okay, so this is how this auto scaling group is going to function. So I'll just go back to AWS console and let me clean up this because there are too many instances running. I'm going to delete all this to our mind so that we'll have space to create new one. And I'm going to delete the load balancers also. Okay. Now, for implementing auto scaling group, so first you observe what steps I perform, and then you can do it afterwards. So first, I'm going to create a launch configuration. So let me, on the left side here, in the auto scaling, you have launch configuration and auto scaling group. So let me create a launch configuration first. Create launch configuration. So I'll just name it. So it will ask me everything related to EC2 instance. So it will ask me for AMI. So I will go to this actually GUI they have changed. They keep on changing a lot of things. The community AMI. So they have. So this is loading the AMI. So let me go to. Let me search here for Amazon Linux. So I need ID here. Fine. This they have unnecessarily changed it. My IMI I don't have. Let me just select one of these. So let me just marketplace. Sometimes they make the simple things very complicated because of the GUI. Let me just grab the AMI ID so that it will be easy for me. Okay, so this I will take. So make sure that you grab the AMI ID. It is otherwise it is becoming difficult to browse through. So instance type, let us go to T2 micro. Use that. Then we are going to do with on-demand instances. So we are not going ahead with the spot instances. there is no instance profile. Enable ICT tele monitoring. We don't want that. So we'll just go ahead with default options. And a new security group, create new one, let it create. And we are okay with SSH rule. Key pair, we will just select the key pair, what we have created earlier, and acknowledge. So this is the launch configuration in which it is asking me questions related to AMI, type of instance, security group, etc., etc. So it is going to store it as a launch configuration details. And when my auto scaling group will trigger, it will take all the settings from here. Okay. So this is the first step, launch configuration. And then auto scaling group, something new they have introduced. Let's see. To create auto scaling group, I'm going to give a name. So launch. So there is another feature here that is launch template. We will discuss about it. I'm going to go to launch configuration, and let me just grab my launch configuration. Next. So it is in the default VPC, and configuration settings. Okay. So what is this step? Let me explain this. So I have a default VPC, that is the only VPC I have. So I'm going to put it in default VPC, and I'm given the list of availability zones. So subnets, one subnet is attached to every availability zone. So there are 6 availability zones, so 6 subnets. So I'm going to select all of them. So what is the use of this step? Selecting all of them is basically when you are trying to create instances, EC2 instances, AWS, the auto scaling group will make sure that they are placed into different availability zones or different subnets to provide redundancy on its own. Okay, that is why I selected all of them. Actually, we are only creating minimum 2, so doesn't matter, 2 will also work, but for demo purposes, I have selected all of them. Then next is, now here you can work along with load balancing. So auto scaling group can work with load balancing. If you want to do that, if you have a classic load balancer already enabled, you can enable it here. So currently in this exercise, we are not going to do that. Then health checks, these are optional. So this is fine. Now desired capacity, minimum capacity. So desired capacity is 2. So I will make it as 3, and this is 4. 4. Okay, and this, can I put it as 2? That is better. So desired capacity is 2, minimum capacity is 2, maximum capacity is 4. Now here, choose whether to use scaling policy to dynamically resize your auto scaling group to meet the changes on demand. If I say none, then what will happen is the minimum 2, it will come up with minimum 2 and it will stay there. So I don't want that. I want, okay. So target policy name. Now average CPU utilization. So average CPU utilization, suppose I want to keep it at 50, it will always be kept at 50, right? So that is how it will basically work. So if I put it as 50, then what will happen is, if it crosses above 50, it will add 1 resource, or it will try to add within those whatever is the maximum limit you have kept. So within that maximum limit, it will try to add resources.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 399 plan and grow your skills immensely.
Okay, so 50 I have kept. Disable scale in to create only scale out policy. So I don't want so. And instance I want it to be scaling also. Scaling protection, this is I'm going to scale out and scale in so that I will make 50%. Now, fine. So I will go next. I'm not going to add any notification here. Notification means this SNS notification. If any changes happen, it will send you an email. Okay? I'm not going to do that currently. And I'm going to go next. I don't want any tags. I will just go next. And I will create this auto scaling. Actually, what has happened is I should have given tag because let us see. So my desired capacity is 2, minimum is 2, maximum is 4. Now in this demo, what we are going to do, if you really have a load and you can put it on one of the servers, it will scale out and scale in. But let us see how this auto scaling group, what it is going to do. So let me just, so it has now, it will start triggering in. And so let me just search the instance state pending and running. Okay. So let us see what it does. Okay. So it should trigger minimum 2 as per the policy. Let's see what it is doing. That capacity, now updating capacity. Let's see. Is it showing updating capacity? Okay, now it is showing me 2 instances. So let me go back and check. Okay, so these 2 instances are now getting triggered. So I did not create it manually. It is the auto scaling group that is creating it. So let it settle down. Actually, I should have given the tag name here. So that name would be assigned to these instances. Unfortunately, I did not give that. So I will just edit it here to. Okay. So this is coming from the policy minimum 2. Okay. So let it settle down. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop one of these instances and then let us see what happens. Okay, so let me stop one of these instances and let us see what happens. So the way auto scaling works is even if you stop an instance, it will basically terminate it. So it will be terminated, and then the minimum 2 policy will be triggered. And what you should see is, so this is gone. Okay, so I'm only filtering on, and so that instance is gone. Now let us wait for some time. So that will get terminated, and the minimum, according to the minimum 2 policy, we should be able to see one more instance. Okay, let us see. Let us wait for a couple of minutes.
So, Srikanth, is this wait defined in a property? Okay, this much seconds it will wait.
Wait for triggering the new instance.
Yes, within ISC.
No, basically there is a setting related to basically when you use it along with the load balancer, then you can set that property. So see, sometimes what happens is when the instance comes up, all services are not up and running. So until those services are up and running, you don't want to divert traffic to there. So there is a setting for that. So there is no setting for shutting it down or stopping. There is no setting. But when it comes up, after how much time it should be in service, there is a setting for that. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
Services.
The voice is breaking.
No, another question. We are using. Can you hear me?
No, I think it is breaking a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so let us wait for some time, and we should see additional instance. Okay, so this is now coming up. Okay, so I did not do anything manually. It is as per the policy. It is triggered in, and it will start running. Okay. So if you really have a load, you can log into this server and put a load. If it crosses above 50% of the average CPU CPU of the group, it will trigger one more instance. So it will try to keep the load at 50%. Okay, this is how it is. Fine. Okay, so now how auto scaling is actually used in production. So I will just discuss that. And how do you design basically a fault tolerant and scalable application in AWS. So we'll just discuss that. So as I told you, auto scaling can be combined with a load balancer. So usually in the production scenario, it will be combined with a load balancer. So suppose let us discuss a scenario here. So this is my ELB. Now this ELB is a region-wide entity. So when you create a ELB, you don't specify the availability zone. So if one of the availability zone fails, it is not going to matter in case of the ELB. So it is AWS responsibility to keep this service up. So this is at a region level. And then what you have is a auto scaling group. Suppose underneath that ELB. So you attach the auto scaling group under ELB. So how auto scaling group is going to behave depending upon the load, it is going to trigger or terminate these instances, right? So when you configure it under a load balancer, what happens is when new instances are getting added, actually ALB will know that the traffic has to be diverted to these new instances which are getting added. So this is at a region level, we have a fault tolerance, and it is scalable because it is an elastic load balancer. So it is going to expand depending upon the traffic what it receives. Okay, so it is a scalable thing, and the scalability is handled by AWS. At an auto scaling level, again we are trying to put them in different availability zones, 1A, 1B, 1C. So there was a setting related to auto scaling group. So 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. And we are trying to put them in different availability zones. So if one of the zone goes down, it is not going to affect our application, right? So there is a fault tolerance built in here also, correct? So at a region level, you can have a scalable and fault tolerant application running, right? This is how you do it. Now, in case of production, you always combine this auto scaling with the ELB. Why? Because there is only one endpoint in that case, and that endpoint is basically the DNS name. In case of classic, and if it is network, it is basically the static IP. So that is not going to change, right? If you implement the auto scaling group alone, then every EC2 instance will have a different IP, and then it is very difficult to manage at the client end. So usually in production, you will basically implement it along with ELB. Now currently, the ELB that is supported on AWS, it is at a region level. So we don't have a global ELB. Okay, so they are yet to come up with that service. On Google Cloud, I think it is available as a global ELB, but in AWS currently it is not. Okay, so that is the scenario. So using these two concepts, you can build a scalable fault tolerant application at a region level. Yeah, any questions on this? So what I suggest, you can create the launch configuration. So in the launch configuration, please make sure you have the AMI ID with you, and then you can just take that AMI ID and create a launch configuration, and then put the policies minimum and maximum, and you should see that a couple of servers are getting triggered. Okay, can you do that exercise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Srikanth,
Yeah.
I have created a launch configuration and the auto scaling groups, and the launch
Okay.
should be, one instance got launched. So, not,
Okay.
but so again, do I need to iterate the process or to bring the
No, no,
another instance? Or?
check the policy.
Yes,
So
by clicking the
what is
instance.
your Ashok?
Ashok. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here, so desired capacity you have kept it as 1. That is why it has
Okay.
triggered.
Okay. So what is the next step I need to do?
No, just try to shut down one and it should create one.
Okay, so I need to create two. The desired capacity should be
No,
2,
no,
and
you are
I need
now
to.
your capacities. Yeah. Either you edit that or for demo purpose, you can just stop this existing server. It should trigger a
Okay.
new one.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Srikanth, what are we supposed to
Yeah.
do with the launch template?
Launch template will actually the auto scaling will refer to the launch template. So whatever settings you have given there, it will launch the EC2 instance according to that. See, in the launch configuration, you have given the AMI ID, the type of
Yes,
instance that
yes.
is T2 micro. All these settings will be taken from there when it launches the
So,
instance. Okay.
yeah, when we are selecting the auto group, should we need to create new one or is the existing one?
No, no, just first create a launch configuration. Yeah, and then while creating auto scaling group, you just give that, you refer to that.
Srikanth, I have stopped that one instance,
Okay.
but again,
Now it will
it
come
should.
up. It will take, yeah,
Okay.
it will come up in some time. It will take some time, and then it will come up.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it has
so
come up.
for you,
Ashok.
okay. Yeah, got it.
Don't need to choose any instance type, right?
No.
T2 micro.
Need to choose.
T2 micro.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Under launch configuration, it's asking security group. So can you please show
Create
that
new one.
once?
Yeah, you can select or create new one. Yeah. So here we give the name, the AMI ID. You just take it from there on quick start. And what is the question? Create security group, right? You can either select your existing security group. It will list down here. You can select your security group or create a new one.
What about description? Actually, it's asking description as well.
There. Here, now you can put any comments here. You can change both of this. You can give your name.
So for in production, so we need to enable load balancer. Only that's the difference, is it?
Correct.
Okay.
Fine. So, yeah, shall we proceed to next topic?
Yeah.
Okay. So those who have done with the auto scaling group, so let me see, there are 16 instances currently running. So what you need to do is go and delete your auto scaling group and your launch configuration. Only terminating will not help because it will auto trigger the new ones. Okay. So those who have done completed the exercise, please go to the auto scaling group and just delete it. I'm going to delete mine. So this is going to delete. So just type delete for confirmation and it will delete the auto scaling group as well as the instances which are running. Okay. And then go separately and delete the launch configuration also.
Shrikant, I tried to stop my instance and it is showing unable to describe the instance it is showing in the status.
Able to describe.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one?
Meena.
Which is your instance?
Meena.
This one.
Yeah.
This one, right?
Yeah.
And where it is showing unable to describe?
For me it is showing here like that, but here it is showing fine.
Okay. Just try to refresh the page. That happens because your browser is not getting all information.
Okay. Yeah.
Fine. Just go ahead and
But
yeah, it is showing now. Yeah.
yeah, it is terminated.
Okay. Fine. So just delete all your auto scaling groups. let us go to the next topic, and that is IAM, Identity and Access Management. So let me take out the okay. So IAM, Identity Access Management. So when you create an account on AWS with your email ID and password, that is called as a root account. Okay, so root account has got all the privileges on the AWS platform, and you cannot restrict the root account in any way. It has got all the required privileges. But under root account, you can create different users and assign them certain policies. So policies are basically permissions. Okay. So create a user and assign certain policies that when the user logs in, so when the user logs in, he will be able to do certain activities on AWS platform. Let it be console, let it be AWS CLI or SDK. So according to these policies, what he is allowed to do, he will be able to do it. Okay. So don't confuse the IAM with of the user management of IAM with the actual users on Linux or Windows machines. For example, EC2 user is the actual user on EC2 instance, Linux instance. So that is not getting managed from IAM. Okay. So it is not for that. It is basically for the users who want to carry out certain activity on AWS platform. For example, creating a EC2 instance, terminating a EC2 instance, creating a RDS instance, creating a bucket. Those users can be managed from IAM. Okay, so keep this in mind. Now, the lab access, what I have given you, what I have done under my root account, I have created these users, which are say student 1 to 20. And actually, I have created a group called as admin, and I have given you access. I have made all these users as the part of this group, and then all these permissions will be inherited from the group. That is why you are able to perform these tasks on AWS platform. So I'll just show you that setup, and then we'll discuss about other IAM things. So I'll go to IAM.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.